remember we've traded these doubles back and forth. So again, since I'm actually not trading it from the long side, but these key levels are great for targets for establishing possibly more. That's fun, the big dives, because what was the stuff out this morning on Tesla where they now, or Jonas, he's the big fanboy, super fanboy analyst, that still values their like mobility division, which doesn't exist, at like $17 billion or something. I mean, it's actually a joke, but what was he? He's saying he only expects them to deliver a total of 8,000 cars, and he's got like the inside track on Tesla. So you got to take stuff. Like, he's such a fanboy, but he does get information that and has to put it out there that most people could construe maybe as possibly negative, although he's very good at spinning it. He only thinks they're going to go deliver 8,000 cars or Model 3s in the whole first quarter.
How many?
8,000.
Wow.
They were supposed to be at weren't they supposed to be at 5,000 like a week or something? A week by the end of this year?
Yeah. He's saying 8,000 total.
8,000 total.
Tell me how he spun that positively.
The advice provided on this podcast is general advice only. All statements made are considered by the participants to be accurate, but accuracy cannot be guaranteed. It has been prepared without taking into account your objectives, financial situations, or needs. All participants in this podcast, including guests, may have a financial interest in any or all of the products or services mentioned. Before acting on this advice, you should consider the appropriateness of the advice, having regard to your own objectives, financial situations, and needs. If any private products are detailed on this podcast, you should obtain a product disclosure statement relating to the products and consider its contents before making any decisions. Where quoted, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Recorded. Saturday, December 16th, 2017. It's the Money Path Podcast with your hosts, Bob Iacchino and Mike Arnold, founders of Path Trading Partners. On episode 101, the What and the Why is sponsored by MotiveWave. Go to pathtradingpartners.com and download your 14-day free trial. So let's talk about Mike with a casual conversation of news in the markets.
For those of you that don't know, I know Mike knows who Jim Chanos is. He's basically one of the most famous stock short sellers ever. Right, hedge fund guy, Chanos and Associates. I'm sorry, the name is Kanikos, but he's the head of it. It might as well be Chanos and Associate. He said, every bull market has its poster children. Tesla is one of the bad ones. He said he is just short. He built his reputation as fortune shorting Enron, this guy. And he's known as somebody who can spot. We shouldn't use the word fraud because that's a legal definition you can be sued for. But it's a shaky company financially. You can use shady. You just can't say liar or fraud. He essentially said that he called him a walking insolvency. That's what he called Tesla as a company, a walking insolvency.
Wow.
Yeah.
The comment sections of his videos when he's on CNBC on YouTube, even going back 4 years on Tesla, are hilarious.
Mm-hmm. People just...
Who is this old guy?
Oh, there you go. The guy.
What does he know?
The guy who noticed Enron before anybody else did. It's just this old guy.
So what was that? Every bull market has a poster child of, and what is it, that phrasing on, Bob?
Tesla is one of the bad ones.
So every showbiz industry has a poster child, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi is one of them.
Why are you hating on Star Wars so much?
Because we have to stop the Empire.
It's just good entertainment.
We have to stop the Empire.
It's fun.
Well, here you go. Here, Morgan Stanley just came out for their whole year of 2018 Model 3 sales estimates at only 110,000 units.
Wow.
Yeah. And this and what's this? Oh, the stock's rallying. Oh boy.
Well, here's more quotes from Chanos on Tesla. What Elon did was simple. He made electric vehicles sexy. Prior to that, you had to compromise and get something like a Prius. But now he has the entire auto world that is figured out and is coming up with aspirational cars. He's now fighting a different fight. One that he's coming up against Tyson when he was 20. That's my quote, not his.
Yeah, he pretty much is, because you got Audi, you get the really nice Porsche one we've talked about, Mercedes. He's coming out. I mean, all the big hitters in the luxury market are going to dump tons of electric cars over the next 2 years on the market. Yeah. So
it's going to be good, and they're going to have service bays at all the dealerships, and they're going to have warranties that you don't have to freaking go far to take care of. It's just going to be much more functional.
So there's our quick little Tesla update. But if anybody's interested for the Tesla stock, let me just give the targets. The target for this is only a single target trade because the second target's a low probability one based off the pattern. But the target's at 352.43, as I said before. So what else? Does anything else before, since we're on sort of car segment, Toyota versus Tesla, which company is greener? So Newsweek has just released its 2017 Green Company rankings, and the results for the world's automakers are very surprising. Some might say shocking. Toyota, the world's leading producer of green vehicles, ranks among the top among all automakers globally and is 16th on the list overall, ahead of Apple. Toyota is proud to be recognized by Newsweek as the world's top green automaker as a leader among global companies. Tesla ranking is not as praiseworthy. Tesla ranks below Monsanto, ExxonMobil, Dow Chemical, Duke Energy, Imperial Oil of Canada, Rio Tinto, the mining company, ConocoPhillips, Chevron, and other companies often not thought of as very green. Tesla earned a low 20% score on the Newsweek's green score. That puts the California-based luxury automaker at the bottom of the rankings among automakers. Even small automakers, there's no hybrids like Mazda and Subaru beat Tesla.
Let's remember that anytime somebody says they bought a Tesla because of the green component of it. Like, really? Well, making your Tesla, you would have been better off buying a couple of gallons from Duke Oil to help the planet.
So that's enough Tesla bashing. We've sort of had our fun.
Buy a carbon-based Toyota and get your oil from Duke Energy, and you'll be greener than if you drive a Tesla.
It's just all funny. He did make some interesting cars. The Model S is what he was revolutionary in some ways. So
Roadster was so smart.
I got to give him some credit in that, but I cannot give him credit in his manufacturing or running a company prowess. He's very good at marketing. He's a marketing expert.
Yeah, a broken clock is correct twice in one day.
He's very good at marketing. I've been
saying this for years about Tesla. Coming out with the $100,000 Roadster first was genius. It was absolute genius. It was visionary because they made Tesla a high-end brand right off the bat.
And there's Bob Iacchino's take. By the way, Apple, the AI chief, this week also revealed more progress on their self-driving tech. So Apple has crafted a system that uses onboard cameras to identify objects even in tricky situations, such as when raindrops cover the lens. It can estimate the position of a pedestrian even if they're hidden by a parked car. Other features include giving car direction through simultaneous localization and mapping, creating detailed 3D maps using car sensors, and decision-making in urgent situations. Apple
basically released a phone that's now everywhere that has built-in LiDAR. So they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
they just have to scale up the size.
Yeah, they're making some big progress in the. It looks like they'll probably spend.
Phone is facial recognition on the X.
Yeah, it's using the same thing where you project, dots or elements to then map the topography. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly the same kind of LiDAR as in the automotive industry, but the workflow for the software and the hardware is the same. They just can swap out technical components.
So there you go. There's our self-driving and Tesla bashing segment. Wow, we sort of got in the Star Wars bashing by Stafford segment. So, but what led to that was Disney bought Fox's studios and cable TV channels for $52 billion. Well, they're not taking the Fox News Channel, broadcast networks, and Fox Sports. So those are the things they're not taking. Everything else they are taking, including all those licenses, like the superhero licenses and everything else. So
can we finally get a good Fantastic Four movie?
Well, they got that license, so we'll have to see.
How do you screw up when you have the Thing as a character?
I know.
He's a wisecracking rock monster. How do you screw that up?
I liked how you used that. Was a very good accent to say wisecracking rock monster.
Hey, it's a wisecrack. He's the Nuff Said guy. The clobbering time guy.
Why don't they just consult with you
I think
for
they
the
should.
next? They should, They call up Bob Iacchino. He doesn't have much free time because he's so famous and he's on TV so often. But he might be able to spare a couple minutes to guide Disney in the production of their next Fantastic Four movie.
The first one they screwed up because they made the Human Torch the wisecracking guy, picking on the Thing all the time. Now, that did happen to a certain degree in the comic books, but the Thing was the wisecracker.
As long as Disney keeps movies like Cannonball Run and Tron and The Black Hole, and their new streaming services will be fantastic.
I haven't seen Tron in forever. Cannonball Run was also fantastic. Who has Smokey and the Bandit? Basically the precursor to Dukes of Hazzard.
I loved Smokey and the Bandit.
The bumbling sheriff and the southern sheriff and his bumbling deputy.
Sally Field walked off the wedding. That's why they kept following the bandit. Why do I know all these movies?
Well, now we're like, see, you've seen all these, so you can comment on them. So there you go.
I've seen them hundreds and hundreds of times.
Yeah, so you can comment on them. So there.
See, I'm very long on Star Wars prequels. Very long. I am short on Disney Star Wars.
Well, that's just too bad. Did you see Netflix?
Who would star in a
wonder how
Smokey and the Bandit remake? Who would do the Smokey?
What?
Who would do the Smokey character in Smokey and the Bandit? I'm sorry, who would be the Bandit in a remake? And what kind of car would it be? Would it be a Tesla Model S?
No, it would not.
It'd be
breakdown and all the stunts.
It'd be a Challenger, wouldn't it? Like
yes, it would be one of the Hellcats.
Yeah, it'd be a Challenger Hellcat.
I'd love to see what that Challenger Hellcat. That would be absolutely fantastic.
Probably have to get one of the country music singers to do it, right?
Yeah, Blake Sheldon would be.
Blake Sheldon would be perfect.
Smoking. Yeah, he'd be Smokey.
He'd be Smokey.
And the Bandit, yeah. They probably would have the guy who was in Alien Covenant, who was Tennessee, what's his name? The comedian who was in Eastbound and Down, the TV show, that guy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Name.
It'd be kind of like a comedy more than a straight-up serious redo.
Yeah, it's, what is that guy's name? Danny McBride.
Correct.
Yeah.
But they got to do these. You know what's so disappointing? Like when they redid the Dukes of Hazzard movie, and it was so bad. You gotta actually get somebody to still get the original essence of it, even if you're gonna comedify it more. You got to get the original essence. They didn't get the essence of the Dukes of Hazzard movie when they redid that one.
No, Dukes of Hazzard is good. I'm sorry, it's very good.
No.
I've seen it many times. It's very good. It's truthful to the Dukes, the General Lee. They make a comment.
See, I don't think you have any taste.
Flag.
I don't think you have taste. How's this Disney streaming thing going to affect Netflix? Because they're going to
kill them.
It's going to go. It's going to hit. I mean, Netflix has got some of its original content, but they're going to. I guess they're going to lose all these franchises. So, well, you know what Netflix still is going for? They released its year-end reports with some of the streaming habits of users. The most unbelievable tidbit in the report was the one user streamed Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl every day for a year. 365 days in a row. Okay.
Netflix stock is up 0.5% today.
Yeah, it's up a little bit, but it actually completed the double top pattern from back in. That was triggered at the beginning of November.
Yeah.
So What else is this? A user in the United Kingdom had a similar streak of insane movie watching, having streamed the B movie 357 times in 2017.
That's the Jerry Seinfeld B movie?
I don't know. It's the BEE movie. BEE.
Jerry Seinfeld.
These have to be business owners running a kiosk or a television constantly every day.
Yeah, they have to be.
The B movie, that was DreamWorks Animation.
I think it's Seinfeld was the B.
From Jerry Seinfeld.
Are you looking at that? Jerry Seinfeld was the B, no?
And it only had 51% Rotten Tomatoes. So someone is watching Netflix in Antarctica and their show of choice is Shameless. So that can't be too hard to figure out. There's not that many people in Antarctica. And Mexico has the most members who logged in to stream content on Netflix every single day. Overall, Netflix members watch more than 140 million hours per day, with the most popular day being January 1st.
Wow.
That's from the Netflix annual report.
I haven't missed Netflix in the last 2 years since I got rid of it, but my Amazon Video, Amazon Prime has been very satisfying. The new Grand Tour, very good.
Oh, you finally watched it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was just impressed. I saw the episode 1 before Stafford, so.
I think this helps Disney more than it hurts Netflix or Amazon for that matter, because again, it's just a preference, right? I mean, Netflix has some extremely loyal people to their original content, and that's obviously why they got into their original content. Their CEO saw a long time ago that they weren't going to be the only streaming service. So it's, we were all kind of questioning why they would spend so much money on original content. Number one. Number two, we don't even know if this is going through. You got the Justice Department. I think the fact that the president congratulated them on the deal, it probably goes through. Not conspiracy theorying or anything, but I think it probably does go through. I don't see, with Netflix in existence and Google Play and Amazon, there's no infringement on competition there. I don't see any antitrust issues there with the amount of competition they have. I just think there's room for all three. Like I cord cut and I'm almost up to what my cable cost in streaming service. I've got Hulu, I've got Amazon, I've got Netflix. I don't have Disney. But if Disney has all the superhero movies, I'm going to have to get it.
Yet.
Yeah. If they got all the superhero movies, I'm going to have to get it. Is that what you're saying, Stafford? They're going to have all the superhero movies?
They'll have all the Smokey the Bandit movies, all the Alien movies, all the movies that matter.
Who's though got the crappy old Dukes of Hazzard one?
I don't know. Nobody.
It's got to be Warner Brothers, I would think.
It's impossible to find. You can't find the mob movies. You always have to pay for those. Like, got to go to Google Play or something, or buy them on Amazon or something. Nobody streams those for free.
No.
Or you have to have the...
You know, because you like those.
I love those. I look them up all the time, and they're never for free. Well, Amazon finally gave me my Nacho Libre, which made me happy.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
One of those stupid movies I can't stop watching.
Nacho Libre.
Yeah.
Things I never wanted to know about Bob Iacchino.
I love Nacho Libres.
We know what his outfit for Halloween is.
I know the wrestlers get all the fancy ladies and the clothes and the free creams and lotions.
Help me. Oh.
Stupid lines like that, I laugh for hours on. The wrestlers get the fancy ladies, the clothes, and the free creams and lotions.
That is a funny line. So we've evolved from the Money Podcast to let's talk about movies that piss Stafford off or crack Bob up.
Well, we did just cryptos last week, so we're starting to have specialty shows.
We got to talk about cryptos, though.
Yeah, we do.
Because cryptos are everything. Oh boy! Did you hear that Coinbase or what? Yeah, Coinbase was the number one downloaded app for the App Store.
Listen, yeah. I know we sound like old guys when we say this is going to end badly. I sent Mike a chart where I actually took a picture of an actual Wall Street Journal. So none of you younger people would ever do that because you wouldn't have an actual newspaper. But I took a picture of a chart from the actual Wall Street Journal in the decline of commodity funds and the inception of of cryptocurrency funds that has happened from 2016 to 2017. The numbers are astronomical. There is nowhere in history that you have ever been able to make money easily and have it be sustainable. That's all I want to say. And when I see, somebody said to me the other day that, he goes, you told me not to buy that ether when I bought it. I'm up 100% now. And my first answer was, well, you're stupid. You should have bought Bitcoin. You'd be up 300%. But whatever. He bought ether and he's up 100% since, I think it was September. Might have been. Might have been a little earlier than that. When was ether around 200? Maybe that would have been summertime. But anyway, it was he wanted to buy ether around 202. I told him just to stay out of it because he's not a trader. He's a mortgage broker. And he bought it and he told me that he, of course, was smart and I was stupid. But I wasn't telling him that it wasn't going to go up. I was just telling him this market is not mature. And Mike and I've said it for years. When you get rewarded for bad behavior, it's the worst possible thing that can happen. And there's a huge segment of people right now getting rewarded for bad behavior over and over and over again. One of the hosts on Bloomberg told her mother to stay away from cryptocurrency, from Bitcoin. And she said she gets a call from her mother every single day. Her mother's 80. She gets a call every single day. Well, you screwed me up on that one. You're not so smart, Miss Bloomberg TV. Because obviously it did nothing go up. All you have to do is when you wonder about this, whenever you hear people say, no, it's easy money, you just buy it. There is no easy money anywhere, ever. Not sustainably anywhere. There's just none. Not legally. Hey, Mike, question for you.
What's that?
When you wake up and you want to see where Bitcoin is at, what the news in Bitcoin or any crypto, what's the first website you go to for information?
Oh, first one?
Yeah. Other than the Pat Trading Partners YouTube, because you create that information. How'd you like that?
I don't look at the news first. I always look at the charts first. I always run through my charts.
Okay.
So
where do you have your charts at? What service?
We use Coinigy for our charting service because you can execute all your trades and I can see a bunch of the different exchanges. So it's one-stop shopping for.
We don't have a discount link or an affiliate link. We're not trying to promote something and make money.
No, we don't get. I don't get anything.
A special link.
And we pay for the service, so we're not getting anything free or anything else. It's just what I use because it's ease of use. I mean, I can go look at GDAX, I can go look at Bitfinex, I can go look at Bittrex, I can go look at Kraken, Poloniex. I can look at all of them and then look at all the cryptos I follow, and I can look at Bitcoin on all the different exchanges, compare to see where the price distortions are. That's why I go there first.
Yeah.
Then I check out Coin Market Cap, just to see where all these what's trending in the trade volume and everything else. What else do I go to? Where are my sites? Trade. I go to Crypto Coin News, CoinDesk, Crypto Hustle. I go to a bunch of different ones just to see, because a lot of people put out all these opinion pieces, and you really have to read. I mean, there's some stuff like fact in there, but a lot of people spin their opinion or what they think is going to happen as fact. So
right. That's where you got to like
multiple sites.
Right. If you're typing in Bitcoin news, you're going to get things like why Bitcoin is going to 20,000 or 100,000. Click my code.
Yeah. So you have to take things with a grain of salt in the cryptocurrency. We've texted back and forth a few times this week. Well, like the people are mortgaging their homes to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
People are putting it on their credit cards because it can only go up. Right. So I might as well take a cash advance on my credit card and use it to buy Bitcoin because, look, I can make so much every day, every time. I heard from places I was at, talking at these gatherings, what's the strategy? Well, you just buy it every time it drops. Well, what if it drops more? You just buy more because it always goes up. So you just keep buying. Well, did you buy the same amount? No, you buy more on the way down because then when it goes up, so it's like martingale. You martingale it on the way down.
Yep.
Can you explain what martingaling is?
Yeah, martingale essentially is just continuing to add to a losing position until it's so big that when it turns around, it doesn't take a large move to make it back.
Let's say you bought one. Let's just round up. Let's say you bought it dropped a 1%. You bought 1 Bitcoin. It drops another couple percent. You buy 2 Bitcoins. Drops another couple percent. You buy 4 Bitcoins.
Related to roulette, what is it? Black and red is like 48%, 48%, right?
Yeah. Green
so
is the house. Yeah.
On the double zero, yes, on the double zero.
On the double zero. So since that your choice is only black or red, you bet $1. Black hits, you bet $2. Black hits, you bet $4. Black hits, you bet $8. Black hits, you bet $16, and you keep going until you finally win, and you win it all back. That's martingale.
Right, and you know why? That's why casinos have table limits.
Yep.
Because you can only martingale so much until. And it works until it does not come back, or it exceeds your bankroll, or you have a margin call. Because what was it in? We were talking about the Japan. How much of the trading is out of Japan now?
Close to 50%.
50%, and they offer some of these things offer 25 times leverage.
Yeah, some of the brokers offer 25 times leverage.
That is suicide. I mean, that's in the early days of FX and look what happened to all the people who blew up there because you got some unexpected move.
Right, and this is based almost entirely off of the youth and lack of experience at the brokerage houses, because what they're doing is they're taking in the cryptocurrencies themselves and lending dollars against it to keep the cryptos for themselves. So they are also of the opinion that it never goes down.
Yes, this is why, when we put out
Miami if it collapses.
Yes.
Because the trader loses the money, and then the broker also, who's lending against it, loses the money.
But it can't go down, Bob.
I know, Mike. Can't go down.
I just want to know what the intrinsic value is.
Of what?
Bitcoin. Intrinsically, what's its value?
Nothing. Zero.
So, I mean, even gold has intrinsic value because it's got. I'm not talking jewelry. I'm talking it's got other purposes.
Right.
Like silver has intrinsic value.
You can have a gold tooth filling, for example.
Yes.
There are uses for gold. There's other better metals for most of the things gold does, but you can do things with gold.
Yeah, high technology, motherboards, chips, all that stuff.
So but cryptos, it's only there's only what somebody's willing to exchange it for. So it's all in sort of good faith. I have another person who's willing to take it off my hands at this value.
Right, and we have to preface this by saying that we are crypto fans and supporters. We are.
Oh yeah, I just don't stay in the position.
Yeah, we are fans of it. What we're not fans is of this irresponsible action, these irresponsible actions and irresponsible actors that are treating it as something that cannot go down, as a guaranteed source of investment returns, because it is not. Nothing is. It's funny because I was talking to some guy. It's John Williams on WGN Radio. I'm on his show now, like whenever he calls me, which has been about once a week, and it's always about Bitcoin. And this is the third time I've been on now where he says, I sat with Bob for about an hour and I still don't understand what Bitcoin is. And he goes, you're saying it's a money that's not backed by anything. Why wouldn't I want dollars, which is backed by the government? And again, the whole premise is that you believe in the government. There's people that do not. They don't believe in the government. They want something that's backed by the people they trust. And that is the other people who believe the same things they do. But when people say the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything, it actually is. It is accepted by the U.S. government as payment of a taxed debt. That is where fiat paper money in the U.S. gets its value from. Everyone owes taxes. You can pay it with dollars. You can go into the IRS with $6,000 in U.S. currency and pay it. You can't do that with Bitcoin yet. I'm not saying you won't be able to. But when there's a cryptocurrency that's accepted by a government, That's the one you want to be in.
Yeah, if civilization collapses, you're not going to need money. You're going to need some other things.
You'll need gold.
But you can have civilization, and cryptocurrencies can collapse at this point in 2017.
There were plenty of civilizations, even hundreds of years ago, that didn't have an official currency. They still traded
seashells.
Yeah, they still traded in seashells and beans and goats. I'll give you 2 goats for 6 bags of beans. That's a transaction.
See, I'd rather still, between the 3 things we listed, then there was a civilization that did use seashells, but I'd rather do the goats and the beans, because goats and beans have more intrinsic value than seashells.
Probably more than gold. How long could you live on your gold bars if there were no one around? You could live on your goats and beans as long as you can keep the goats alive by feeding them the beans. Be a smelly house, but it's fine.
Yeah, so that's all we're saying. I mean, I do crypto videos every day for helping people to literally learn how to trade them properly as a trader, and these same things apply to any market. It's not just, oh, look at all the neat things we do in cryptos. No, we do the same things in commodities, foreign exchange, stocks. There's nothing special. It's just cryptos are hot. They caught people's eyes, and I'd rather have them do it in a logical manner and actually learn about trading, other than you just buy it every time it goes down.
Right. The people who follow Mike and us in cryptocurrencies are going to continue to make money even when it collapses. You're not going to make as much money as the other people do now when it's going through this craziness. But this is now the largest bubble in terms of the speed and size of the move that I've ever seen. It includes a tech bubble that I've ever researched. That other thing I sent you, Mike, this is a bigger bubble.
Tulip mania.
Yeah, look up Tulip Mania, Google that. Tech stocks, not even close. But here's the interesting thing about cryptocurrency volatility, Bitcoin specifically. I'm saying only in air quotes, it's only about 5 times the volatility of crude oil. So it is a tradable thing. It's not something that, these guys, the insanity of it going straight up is what bothers us. But people will be like, well, there's too much volatility in cryptos. That's true. We used to say that crude oil was too volatile to trade. Like, we would talk about that all the time. It's like, I don't want you trading crude oil. We talk to students or junior traders or whatever. So we don't want you trading crude oil because it's too volatile. Cryptocurrency is about 5 times the volatility of crude oil. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that this is a long-term trading instrument. But I still think Bitcoin is MySpace. I don't think Bitcoin is going to be the one that is permanent. Only because how often is the first one permanent? Amazon?
Rarely.
Yeah. Maybe Amazon. We talk about I had somebody say to me, you don't believe in cryptocurrency. Yes, I do. I just don't believe in the way that Bitcoin is moving right now, that it's going to continue to move that way forever. That's all I don't believe in. He goes, well, you talk about the tech bubble. It gave us Amazon. I'm like, it did. Gave us Amazon. What else? He goes, well, Google. No, Google was like in 94. What else? What else did the tech bubble give us? Actually, Google was like 2004 or something. But when you look at when these things went public, there are a couple of companies, Red Hat's still around, I believe.
Yep.
There are a couple of companies in the tech bubble that survived and are still around, but the vast majority are not.
Yeah, and there were companies before the tech bubble that just got overinflated, like Cisco, Intel, Juniper Networks, the Qualcomm's, Broadcoms, that with their stock went
AOL.
To unsustainable
AOL.
Netscape
levels. Is Netscape still around?
Not as a thing, but it does exist in history.
Yes, but no, there's the stock.
No.
So that's all we're saying. So there'll be some shakeout in this, and it'll all be interesting. But it is. Although I did get a little frustrated a bit this week because the price action got to stupid. Where some of these. Like you chart the levels, and these levels are high. These levels aren't just tested for cryptos; these are good levels in in all sorts of psychological, because they're based in psychology and, the GAN levels and how things work harmonically and everything else. But when you put up a level and literally 10 minutes later it's taken out, then 10 minutes later next level is taken out, then you can't even start putting on levels because the market won't even pause. That's when it gets a little ridiculous.
And it makes it seem like the levels don't matter, but when you pull back and look, you can still see reactions at the levels.
Yes, it's just
Still
like I can't produce the levels fast enough. I go put them up, and then all right, I'm getting all my stuff up to record the video. I go start recording. I pull up the chart again to start talking about it. And it's like, oh, sorry everyone, those levels were already hit in the last 10 minutes.
Right.
But like IOTA this week, what did it do? Or since the beginning of December, it went from a buck to 550. Okay, like what? And it was going up just incredibly. Now it's finally pulled back to some to 350 at least to our rotation zone. But then it's interesting in these cryptos because it's almost like we get this big run up in Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin pauses for a bit. It's like some people are cashing out some of their stuff, and then they all dive into another one, and they start a momentum move. And then as everybody's sucked into the next momentum move, they're all cashing out of that, and then they go to the next one. Then they go to the next one. Then Bitcoin pulls back a bit. Then they're all right, let's rotate it back into Bitcoin, and it's this big cycle through all these different cryptos. And you can see one or two go up big. They go up for a few days. They get everybody sucked in. Everybody's like, this was going to the moon. And then I think the smarter money that started the initial momentum move is selling to the latecomers. And then they're the ones that weren't going up or were pulling back because people stopped watching them as much. Then they go rotate into those. And they do the same thing. It's like wash and repeat. And it's what I keep witnessing in this space. And in some ways, it's manipulative.
It's insanity. I mean, again, you're looking at a situation where there has never in history been a place where you can just go easily make money without trying, and it's fine. It just goes on forever. It just doesn't happen. So just always keep that in mind when you're saying it never goes down. Housing could never go down. Tech stocks could never go down. Tulip bulbs could never go down. They always all go down. This is not conjecture. Now, maybe Bitcoin goes to 110,000 before it goes down. I don't know. But nothing ever goes up permanently.
Indefinitely.
It doesn't. Exactly.
But you don't understand the math, Bob, because
I know that's what
it's physically impossible for there to be a bubble in Bitcoin. You don't understand the blockchain.
But I love when they say that Bitcoin is limited. We talked about this last week. It's not. Yeah, Bitcoin is limited. Look, I'll do an example of why they use. You know what? I'm going to say this for my why. Go ahead. I had a why, but I'm going to do this for my why instead.
Why'd you change on me?
What?
What? No, why? Well, there's some other stuff going on in the world this week. Especially we had a Fed meeting, did we not?
We did.
Can you talk about this is the final Fed meeting of the year, and I think they raised their the federal funds rate a quarter point.
They did. They raised Fed funds rate a quarter point, so the target rate is now 125 to 150. Okay. So just for the sake of conversation, we'll say the Fed funds target rate is at 137.5, 1.375.
Did you average those two numbers to get that?
I did. That would also be the mean, wouldn't it? I thought it was interesting that there was two dissenters.
Yes.
It was Kashkari and who? Evans?
Kashkari and Evans.
Had to be Evans. Yeah.
Yeah, Evans, Cash and Carey. Yes.
Yeah, they also bumped up GDP forecasts for next year. I think by 1/10. I don't think it was much. Janet Yellen continues to think that inflation not showing up is transitory, but she did not mention cell phone plans this time. She sounds silly with that. That's like one of those things that's going to sound silly forever. Janet Yellen said there's no inflation because there's been some discount on cell phone plans. Was there no inflation in January because the Christmas stuff is all discounted? I mean, it just sounded stupid when she said that.
Well, there's no debt in November because Halloween candy was on sale.
Yeah, I made the mistake.
In November. So.
Yeah, exactly. Halloween candy goes on today. And then all the winter sweaters go on sale starting in January too. So, but I was on TD Ameritrade's network this week, and I made the mistake of saying they were not going to get a CPI prior to the meeting. But that was a mistake because we obviously did. It was on announcement day we had a CPI, and again CPI was weak. Core CPI missed. Headline CPI was in line, but core CPI missed. Headline CPI was up because gasoline prices were up, oil's up.
Headline came in at 0.4, expectations of 0.4. Core CPI came in at 0.1%, expectations of 0.2%.
Right. And how you can see Walmart and Amazon battle and these kind of things and think that it's cell phone plans that's holding inflation down. How you can look at the wage component. Again, wage component of the non-farm payrolls last week, horrible. No growth there. There's just no sign of inflation. Inflation's always been driven by wage growth. And I'm talking about price inflation. We have asset inflation. But there's just no sign of it. And Yellen doesn't seem to think that. That's fine. They're talking about 3 rate hikes next year. I would say that given the reaction by the 10-year note, which was a lower yield, we went from about 246 on yield on the 10-year note to about 235. It's up a little bit now. I think we were 234.6 after the Fed meeting Thursday night. But for her to think that, or for the FOMC to think this stuff's transitory, I think the market believes it is more likely that they go from an estimate of 3 rate hikes in 2018 down to 2 than it is that they go from an estimate of 3 up to 4.
How's the yield curve looking?
Yield curve is still violently flattening. Especially 2-year sector is, I think we've got like 9 days up in price, down in yield. Down in price, up in yield in the 2-year note. And this reflects the short end of the curve anticipating higher interest rates vis-a-vis the Fed, because the Fed controls the short end of the curve, but the long end of the interest rate curve not seeing inflation. So it's showing lower yields. Let's break this down in real simple terms. If you're invested in 5-year notes, you want to know that at the end of that 5 years, that the principal you get back buys the same it used to when you add in your interest. So simple. You buy a $100 bond at 1%. 5 years later, you get $101. If when you gave the government your $100, that $100 could buy, let's make it topical, 1 Ethereum coin. You want to know that in 5 years, that $101 will buy 1 Ethereum coin, right? If there's inflation, that means that $101 that you get in 5 years is not worth what it was 5 years ago, so you don't make that investment. So if you think there's going to be inflation, you demand a higher yield on the longer-term investments. And if you think there's no inflation, you're okay with the lower yield on the longer-term investments. And that's what's happening on the long end. The long end of the yield curve does not believe that there's inflation coming. Neither do I.
So you mentioned there's no inflation, but there is asset inflation. Did you see Steve Leisman's question to Yellen?
I didn't. No, I didn't see the press conference.
Quote, every day this is Steve Leisman, every day it seems the stock market goes up triple digits. Is it now, or will it soon become a worry for the central bank that valuations are this high? That was his quote. So she answered, stock market has gone up a great deal this year, and asset valuations are elevated. We see ratios at the high end of historical ranges, but, quote, economists are not great at knowing what the right valuations are. We don't have a terrific track record. Then low interest rates support higher valuations. The risks in the global economy look more balanced than they have in recent years. There's nothing flashing red there or even orange on asset valuations.
Wow, none of that makes sense.
No, so she's like, we can't really project it, and they're elevated, but they're not. It's not really bad. So,
yeah, that seems like she kind of. It seems like she misspoke. I mean, she said we see them at the let's see, knowing what the right values are, low interest rates support higher valuations. The stock market is okay. Valuations are elevated, but there's nothing flashing red or possibly even orange.
You should actually look at the Fed they actually produce graphs. That's where the orange and red. Earlier this year, back in July, pretty much all the stock market valuations were either in the orange or red category on their own charts. And it's only gone up from there.
Wow.
So either they don't read their own charts, or she doesn't read their own charts.
She must have been caught by surprise on that. I don't know.
I think she was caught by surprise, but it's like, I don't know how to answer this. We're not really good at, we're not good. We don't know when things are in a bubble.
You know when someone was caught by surprise when they kind of repeat things. So like Steve Leisman says, every day it seems the stock market goes up triple digits. And then she answers with, the stock market has gone up a great deal. I mean, that's the first part of her answer, is repeating his question in the form of a statement.
Yeah, that's because you're still trying to think to get ahead of it.
Exactly. You're trying to think of.
So we got to shift gears because this is going a bit long.
Yeah.
Anything in Brexit land or in Europe or anything we need to know?
Yes, Brexit land. I'll do this really quickly. Brexit land. They basically tabled the Irish border issue. So as of right now, there's not going to be a physical border between the UK and Northern Ireland, which is problematic from the UK's perspective, but they needed to move on. They're moving on to trade talks. They've come to at least an agreement on, again, both the Irish border or lack of and the divorce payment. The people who are anti-Theresa May say that these are just frameworks. They're not legally binding agreements, and they're right. But they're moving on to trade talks between the UK and the EU, so it does look like progress. It hasn't been enough concrete progress to help the pound by much. Having said that, the trade talks are more complicated than the other things because now you have different perspectives and different levels of importance on different things. Different countries produce different products, and the trade talks are never just a blanket agreement. Everything's going to fall under this deal. There's always some protectionism and some particular industries that get favoritism and stuff. So the reason they had to move on to trade talks is they've got a March 2019 deadline, and they could use all of that in just trying to get the trade talks done. So Brexit's about to get stickier and messier, but it's going to be less of a day-to-day conversation.
Fantastic. So what's your why?
And let me just throw this in. I'm sorry, Mike, but let me just throw this in. All the PMIs in Europe beat, except like French services PMI. Pretty much every other composite, current situation, economic indicator, PMI, all the PMIs beat. They were all stronger than expected. So the European economy, Mario Draghi says that the U.S. is ahead of Europe in the stage of the recovery, but Europe has a stronger economy than the U.S. right now, which is very interesting because he's not willing to hike rates nor remove accommodation at this point, not at least any more aggressively than they're already talking about doing. But he does say that the EU economy is stronger than the U.S., while the U.S. is just at a fourth rate hike. So I thought that was interesting.
And what's your why?
Today's edition of The What and the Why is brought to you by Motive Wave Software. Motive Wave Software is a well-established developer of easy-to-use, full-featured charting, analysis, and trading software built for the individual trader. Motive Wave offers the best charting tools used by the pros, such as Elliott Wave, Fibonacci, Gartley, Gann and ratio analysis, but it's presented in a very easy-to-use way. Motive Wave has a product to fit any budget and any trading style, and one of the very best features, it's available on Windows and Mac. So go to pathtradingpartners.com right now to get your 14-day free trial, and then visit them at motivewave.com.
Don't get it when you're, in my opinion, when you're valuing Bitcoin specifically or any individual cryptocurrency, do not get caught up in the scarcity. Because when Mike and Stafford first convinced me that I should actually not mute for our cryptocurrency segment and I should actually listen, there was somewhere in the range of 900 cryptocurrencies. And the last I looked, there were over 1,400, and there could be more than that. Venezuela is talking about launching their own cryptocurrency because the Venezuelan peso is so beat up, it's just not accepted in the market. So they're going to turn to the blockchain technology and the limited print of whatever Venezuelan crypto they create to try and get a currency with value. Could actually work, but Bitcoin is limited. But with the number of cryptocurrencies that are coming out, and I don't believe there's anything stopping the mimicking of cryptocurrencies. I'm sure there's some patents, but with the fact that there's already over 1,000 of these things and probably more, there is not a limited number of cryptocurrencies. One of the original, I don't remember his name, but one of the original investors in Bitcoin, where he bought $25,000 worth of Bitcoin at $1 each, right? His investment's now worth $450 million. His nickname is Bitcoin Jesus.
Bitcoin Jesus.
He was on CNBC recently saying that Bitcoin specifically has gotten away from the original mission of Bitcoin, which was a limited currency unable to be manipulated by banks, by governments, with a limited print, a limited number that was going to be in supply, which gave it a real value and cheap to free transfer of funds. Now, I didn't know that Bitcoin specifically had gotten away from that. I've been looking into that now. This particular guy, it's not me saying this, but this particular guy said that Bitcoin now, if you want to send somebody $20 in Bitcoin, it'll cost you $50 to do it. Because if you want to send somebody $1 million in Bitcoin, it'll cost you $50 to do it. He's a believer in Bitcoin Cash, which, Mike, am I wrong? You like Bitcoin Cash too, or am I wrong on that?
Yes, I like that better than Bitcoin not from a more stable long-term entity, not from a trading perspective.
Okay, yeah. He's not saying go long Bitcoin Cash. He's just saying as a stable entity. This particular guy said that essentially Bitcoin Cash, it's almost free. Because if I want to send somebody $1 million, they get $1 million, and if they send it back to me, I get $1 million back. He said, so Bitcoin Cash is the way to go. My point being, I'm not endorsing Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, IOTA, Ripple, Dash. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is that Bitcoin is limited, but cryptocurrencies are not. So when people are saying they own it because there's a finite amount, there's really not. Depending on what the functionality of each Bitcoin or each cryptocurrency that you're trading, there could be 10 others with the same functionality and a slightly different technical profile to it. So don't get caught up in essentially the cryptocurrency world has turned into just one big massive central bank printing cryptocurrencies. So make sure if you're going to buy and hold a cryptocurrency that you look into what its functionality is, what the point of it is, what the creators meant for it to do, and then judge it on whether it's doing what the creators meant for it to do and whether that's valuable in the market. That's my why.
That is a very good why.
Thank you, Mikey.
So,
what?
I don't have a what.
What? You always have a what.
No, I don't have a what. I'm too focused on cryptos.
Your what is cryptos are driving you what and crazy.
They are. Oh, we got Dash Coin just pulled back on the daily chart, the upper end of the rotations. I mean, I cover this stuff. I have what's every day of the week in this stuff.
Can I ask you a question? Which, if somebody said to you, you have to speculate, day trade, and I'm using day trade as a phrase, okay? It doesn't mean you have to hold it for a day. I mean, the kind of trading we do, which is responsible, short to medium term trading, which would be your choice of the ones you cover?
Which would be my choice? I'd have to go with Bitcoin. Okay. Just because of the volume characteristics. I mean, the downside is you have about 1,000 people controlling most of the Bitcoins. So you have that control factor. But that's true in a lot of these cryptos. The early founders control so much of it that it can be pushed around by very few individuals.